This is so wonderful. We were given Ezekiel last year, in I believe it was January. And so all this time, we've done the studies and whatnot of Ezekiel, how it coalesced to give us the time frame. We know that 2017 is a very key year for the Revelation 12 sign. We also know the ending of the sixth day and also when our own Exodus began, which we got from, I believe it was the book of Haggai, which gave us the year 2010. And so when Linda was reading Second Samuel chapter 5, she showed it to me and it was right there. I cannot unsee it. It again, if it, this is all in, it's in the numbers. It's I literally can't unsee it. But do you want to go ahead and start?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so praise Yah, that what for whatever reason we can't remember why we got led down the whole Jasher study, but I guess I was just reading. That's where I was. I was reading. I got up to Second Samuel and started researching that Jasher thing. And then as I continue reading, I get up to chapter
I
5.
keep forgetting me.
And then right before right where we're getting into, again, it's reiterated in Second Samuel 4 at the end here, starting in verse 9 to 12, about how um, okay, the men coming, thinking that they're bringing good tidings about Saul being slayed. Um, how much more it's the whole story about, I guess, Ishbosheth and getting murdered by what are their names here? Rechab and Bana. It's just more men going out and slaying men, thinking they're going to be rewarded from the king, but that's David is not having it. Okay, so now we're in chapter 5, and I'm going to read all, from 1 to 5. Okay. Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. And also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou wast he that leddest us out and brought us in Israel. And Yahuwah said to thee, Thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be captain over Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king to Hebron, and King David made a league with them in Hebron before Yahuwah, and they anointed David king over Israel. This is where we start paying attention to the numbers. David was 30 years old when he began to reign. So that made me think when I read that priests need to be 30 when they begin their ministries. And he reigned for 40 years. And that number 40 made me think of 40 years in the wilderness. That was just those numbers. We just hear them so often. That's where my mind went. And verse 5, in Hebron, he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months, and to Jerusalem 30 and 3 years over all Israel and Judah. So, what I was seeing here is that King David reigned for 7.5 years over Judah, but then you add the 33 years to that, which equals 40 years total. And so, knowing the basis for our understanding of the timeline, which comes from Christina pointing out the Revelation 12 sign that happened on September 23rd, 2017, and the beginning of that wilderness time period beginning in 2010, it's exactly 7.5 years from 2010 to the Revelation 12 sign. And then the remaining 33 years is up until 2049, which is the end of the 40 years of our wilderness walk. And that's basically what Christina was saying is kind of a second witness to what we found in Ezekiel.
And 2049 is also the last year of the sixth day. 2050 is the first year of the seventh day. And it fit like a glove. I
Wow.
saw that and I was like, there's the second witness. And praise Yah, there's two witnesses.
Praise Yah. Praise Yah.
Wow. Okay, is everybody following that?
Yep.
Okay.
That's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Like
is.
that's
Yep. Wow.
And it's funny because it happened a year apart, right?
Oh, yeah. Right. The revelation of it.
Okay, yeah.
And okay, and so we know that Yah speaks very highly of King David and his righteous ruling. But there's only one that is going to be more righteous, Yahusha is our king and coming. And yeah, it's just really, and so the other thing that I was thinking that this could possibly be, and please, I would love anybody's input, is that is this representation here in Second Samuel of King David bringing together Judah and Israel? Is that the two sticks coming together?
Yes, I think so.
I kind of think
Mhm.
so too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because we know both both parties are part of the bride, both parties are part of who's going to be drawn out, and that's coming up real quick. So they had to be brought together. And I think it's the Revelation 12 sign that is what symbolizes that.
Yeah, because that is Israel, the whole house,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah, Father put a stamp on it. He put a stamp on it. Praise Yah.
Praise Yah.
Wow. Yep. Y'all, I kind of want to, are y'all, is there anybody else that wants to add something to that or?
Should I stop recording now or should we just go and then we can chop it up later? Keep going.
Yeah, and just a comment, because 10:10's coming, right?
Yeah.
10:10 is this coming Sunday, and it's prior to when we meet again next Sabbath. And I just wanted to say this, that I know a lot of people are testing this calendar that we truly believe is y'all's calendar. And I think some people out there that if something earth-shattering or newsworthy does not happen on December 28th or 10:10 on y'all's calendar, that, they're just gonna throw up their hands in the air and say, well, we still don't know anything. I just want to make this statement. When you go back and look at what supposedly started World War One and World War Two, it wasn't necessarily world-shattering front page news stories all over the world. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying don't lose your faith if it doesn't as well. Because a lot of things people look back on and they'll say, okay, well, this is the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. And you don't really see it until retrospect.
Yeah.
So I will say this, because in the 10:10 scriptures it talks about Nebuchadnezzar surrounding Jerusalem. I'm going to tell you right now that is not going to happen. Because first of all, Nebuchadnezzar represents the beast. Second of all, the beast hasn't been revealed yet, right? And that, when the beast surrounds Jerusalem, isn't till way later in the end times prophecy. So, I mean, this is my opinion, but I'm going to go on record to say that is not going to happen because we supposedly the beast doesn't reveal himself until 42 months, right? Well, 1010 obviously is prior to the 1260. So it's gonna be something. It could be major. I'm just saying it also could be some kind of minor event that eventually catapults the world into World War III. So I just wanted to make that statement because, I've heard this and that chatter about, well, I guess 1010 will be the day when we find out if this is Yah's true calendar. And I just wanted to say, in my opinion, we may or may not hear earth-shattering news. That's just my opinion, and I just wanted to share it.
No, I think that's a good premise to go upon because, again, as you say, the beast hasn't shown up yet. So, it may not.
Right.
So,
And it very well could be the beast. I'm just saying we're not going to know for sure if it's the beast or not until later in time. Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah.
But we are looking for the fourth sign, which is January 7th. Father has shown something for every sign so far. And whether it was big or small, it was still there on that day.
Right, I agree. And
Right.
and just to reiterate, January 7th is the countdown for Judah, the 40-day countdown, correct? On his side
Yes.
for Judah.
Yes.
Okay.
And the moon will be in Leo on that day, as shown per Ezekiel. So, yeah.
So the date, the 1010 date, one of the references, the references, I'll read you just one out of the three. Again in the ninth, Ezekiel 24:1, again in the ninth year, in the 10th month, on the 10th day of the month, the word of Yahweh came to me saying, Son of man, write the name of the day, even of this same day, that the king of Babylon set himself against Jerusalem this same day, 1010. We found evidence, I think it was Carolyn that found that the Noahide laws got signed in by Reagan in 1982. And that was on the equivalent to when, and it got signed in by Congress um, um, on April 4th, when we believe 1260 is going to begin. So it could be something like a bill getting signed or something where they believe that they have Israel surrounded, that they feel like they have like a lot of these signs that come up are usually things getting signed in and like the masses aren't really even aware of it. It's kind of below the
Exactly.
surface.
And my mind goes to Psalm 83. The Confederacy against Israel. Is it Psalm 82 or Psalm 83?
I think it's 82. 82, I think.
And that confederacy against Israel is led by none other than um it's 83 is led by
Ah.
Edom, and I'll read it. So Psalm 83, just real fast. I'm kind of wondering if this is when this is made on 1010. Do not keep silent, O Elohim. Do not hold your peace, and do not be still, O Elohim. For behold, your enemies make a tumult, and those who hate you have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people, and consulted together against your sheltered ones. They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more. For they have consulted together with one consent. They form a confederacy against you. The tents of Edom, the Ishmaelites, Moab, Haggarites, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assyria also has joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. So this just ties in my head, right? Edom, we know who they are, who we believe. There's your Tyre. Who's the king of Tyre we discussed? Potentially Trump. Assyria has joined with them, the United States. So who are they consulting against, really, in the end? Who are the Noahide laws against? Yah's true people, right? The ones that will refuse to bow the knee to the beast system. So that's what this confederacy is against. Just throwing that out there because I don't want folks to think just because full force World War III didn't begin that scripture is not fulfilling and it is not being made true.
I think, in my humble opinion, that what could happen, because we know that there was already a document that was signed about the Sunday law, right? I have an inkling, and it may not even be anything, but I believe that it may have something to do, that they may try to pass it or push it through at the beginning of the year, probably in the week of the 7th of January. And just the reason why I am seeing that is because January 10th and January 11th are Saturday and Sunday, and they love their numbers. January 10th is 11, and then January 11th is 111. So they're building, right? They're building in number. So that's just my thought. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it seems to me that a lot of these laws that get signed in usually begin at the beginning of the year.
Part of that confederation, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you have the Abrahamic religions coming together, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. That's also a confederation against the true
Well,
believers.
I do want to add that the day that that was signed, that was on our Shabbat, and I believe that was the that was the day. I have to go back and look at the calendar. I may be confusing the dates. It either happened on the day that the 150 days ended. I think that's when it happened, and it was signed in on that day, when the sun was in Scorpio and the moon was in Aquarius. That fulfilled the first 150-day sign, and then we've got one more with Judah. So, which is the 40 days afterward. I have to double check my
Christina, what is it that you're looking for to align with that date?
um the I think it was November 28th.
Right, yep. That was Black Friday. The moon was in Aquarius. But what is it that you were looking to?
I was looking at November 28th. I don't even, you know what? I didn't even put it in. Oh, restarting the economy. Yah's 9/11. That's when
Yeah,
it
that was,
happened. That's when it happened. Yah's 9/11. It happened on the 28th day of November.
What was it that something happened?
Restarting the economy with a Sunday, right? That's what the whole thing was about, was the Sunday Sabbath, them instating that. We just don't know when they're going to actually put that law into effect.
Gotcha,
But
gotcha.
it was signed that day, and
I
I
see.
have it noted down.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
about how does Haggai point to 2010, and it wouldn't hurt to repeat that. But
Oh,
Christine,
sure.
yeah, I think it's in chapter 2, verse 16.
Yep, it is. And it says here, since those days one came to a heap of 20 ephahs, and there were 10. So right there, you've got 20 and 10. That's 2010. That's when our Exodus began. Um, And there were 10. One came to the wine press to draw out 50 baths from the press, and there were 50. So right there, 2050 is the brand new year that starts the seventh day. That's our 40 years in the wilderness.
Okay, thanks. I mean, I figured if Bailey asked, there might be others that would benefit. So there's
Okay.
another witness of the 40 years of the second Exodus right there in Haggai. Thanks.
Yeah, the information is so much, like it helps everyone
Yeah,
to review
repeat.
it.
Make sure my
Oh,
Bible's still marked. Yep.
you know what? There is something that I want to add because in case somebody still doubts anything that is being put forward. This is out of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And when I read it, Yah is, all I know is that Yah is so good. And I love him so much for pointing this out because this helps us. This is also in the Damascus document. Okay. And it's in fragment 4Q268, fragment 1. So if you want me to repeat that, let me know.
Repeat it.
4Q268, fragment 1. And this is what it says. And I'll just read the whole thing. Later generations, for surely they will come to pass, ellipsis, ellipsis. What is its beginning and what its ending, ellipsis, before it comes upon them, ellipsis, ellipsis, for it is not permitted to celebrate the holidays too early or too late. Yes, a period of Yah's wrath is decreed for a people who know him not. Yah's will to those who seek his commandments and to those who live blamelessly in the proper way, ellipsis, in the hidden things, and open their ears that they might hear deep things and understand future events before they come upon them. Yah has opened up the books so that we can know what is to happen before it does. That's exactly what it says here. So this is for the people who have a hard time believing. He says it right here.
Christine, just out of curiosity, which Dead Sea Scrolls are you looking at? Is that, I'm just trying to find the page.
Okay, mine is the hardcover, but it should be in the very first thing that you look at when you open up yours,
Mhm.
which is the Damascus document.
Yeah, I have that. I'm just trying to find
Okay,
that fragment.
okay, and then you should see the
Casey, do you have this
exhortation.
one?
Yes, I do, Mitzi.
I think it's on pages 51 and 53.
Okay, thank you. Because I found a fragment of 4Q268 on page 59, but it wasn't reading like Christine's. So, okay.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
It starts on page 51 though, Tracy.
Yeah, I found it. Thank you.
Okay, okay, good.
He's making sure that his people know and are spiritually preparing.
And another thing I thought of on this 10-10 day, if nothing really earth-shattering happens, and it talks about in the parable of the virgins, of course, they all sleep. Don't get me wrong, we all sleep. But if you see days come and go and you don't think anything's really happening, aren't you more likely to be more asleep than the part of the bride that we're all lulled into, okay, he seems to be delaying his coming. We're not seeing things maybe like we would like to see, but I also think he's keeping peace for us longer so we can prepare, right? It's hard to prepare when chaos is going on. So I'm just saying, don't be lulled to sleep just because you aren't seeing headlines line up with this stuff. Stay awake, stay sober, and stay with oil in your lamps.
It is usually the obscure headlines
Yes.
that 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 marks the timing. And that's what happened. I mean, when the red heifer was burned on the day that Ezekiel was sitting by the river Kibar, um, that was a huge that was huge, even though it was hidden from us.
Yeah, but we didn't know it till later, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
That's my point, I guess, is
right.
Okay, so we know it's like kind of their creed, or they have to tell us, but these types of things is going to be hidden in the fine print. That's not going to be flashing headlines for everyone to be
Uh-uh.
like, "Oh no." Like you really need to be knowing what you're looking for, or
right,
be led to
right.
it.
Right. So I guess it's good that, we keep our eyes open for something that just seems out of place.
Yeah. Um, hey, did y'all want to share uh, what we heard that is a different spin on that what do you call it? Three-eye atlas thing?
Yeah, go for it,
Yeah,
Mitzi.
go for it.
Okay, this is highly speculative, but and I forgot, it was just wasn't it a Instagram of some of the folks we listen to that we don't necessarily agree with their understanding of scripture, but they bring up some great points. I don't remember who it was, but anyway, she made the point that we know the temple is a replica of the temple in heaven. We know the Ark of the Covenant is a replica of the Ark in the heaven. But she made the point, I honestly never thought of this before, but that Noah's Ark was another template of a replica that's in heaven. Now she's kind of, and I'm not saying I necessarily agree with this, but I have always said that I think Yah definitely tells us what he's going to do, but how he does it usually is a curveball. It's not exactly what we had in our head of how he'll do these things, but I think she brought up, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going on memory here, that this thing. What does NASA say this three-eye thing is, like a meteor or something? What are they saying it is?
Yeah,
Comet.
a comet,
Comet.
right?
A comet. Okay, a comet. Well, this lady's saying, what if it is the ultimate ark that's from heaven? Now, not that a replica has to be the same size either. Just remember that is actually coming to get his faithful bride and remove her. Not like a rapture. We're not saying that, but we have spoken to you guys about Elijah and how the chariot a fire came to get Elijah, and Elijah and Elisha were separated, and Elijah went up into the chariot coming from heaven and took him somewhere. So what this person was saying, what if this so-called comet is really an ark from Yah? This, and then think about it. If it is how he comes to get his bride, who he says all the time is sprinkled like salt on the earth. It's not like it's gonna have to go all over the earth to pick out the wise virgins, if you hear what I'm saying. So this is when this person thinks that this is why the powers that be have been laying out all this alien deception, that they have to have a story for what this is and what's really going on when it's the hand of Yah, you know. Am
You
I
see,
saying this right?
yes, you are.
Or, well, yeah, go ahead, Christina. You can say
Yeah,
I do
go
have.
ahead.
Is what if this is their cover story because they know that the bride is going to be picked up? It takes my mind to Matthew and Luke, where one is taken and the other is left. And where are the bodies found? They're found where the vultures are, meaning that like the beast having the beast having to come first before Yahusha. What if their taking has to come first before the bride? And so they create this thing and they take up their bride, right? And they go and they dump the bodies off somewhere, and then the bride is taken up by uh the true messengers. That was something that popped into my brain, and I thought there's a reason for those passages that one is taken and the other is left. And then when the question is posed, well, where do they go? Well, where the bodies are found with the vultures. So believe me, I was like, um that it's I kind of feel like there's a warning in that somewhere, what to watch for.
Hmm. So,
So
sorry, Christina.
no, go ahead, Linda.
I was going to say that, like, Truth Unedited always teaches, you do not want to be the first one. You want to be left behind. And that is, I've always been like, like, I couldn't see that. But with this, a couple things I want to say. I think this could be like Satan always has his
Counterfeit.
yes, his
Yes.
counterfeit, that he is going to have this like resurrect, like not a rapture,
Rapture
rapture.
event.
And
Yeah.
people are going to think they've been left behind, right? And but it's not the true bride. It's whoever they take up, and I don't know how they choose who they're going to take up. And then, like was Christina saying, they just drop them off somewhere or whatever. And yeah, that kind of really makes a lot of sense to me that they would do it. And I wonder what would make sense for an appropriate day for this to take place. It would have to take place before the actual taking of the
Correct.
bride. Uh,
Yes.
I
And it
may I
would
add
be
something.
simultaneous too. It's simultaneous.
Wouldn't
go
it be
for it, Kimberly.
interesting? Wouldn't it be interesting though that if the target was those that are going to church on Sunday
Yeah.
to make people think that here's the
Well,
rapture, they were
that's
right.
the rapture people, right?
Yeah.
Those
Right,
are the people counting on the rapture.
right. And then
And
to
the
show us,
the volumes of the fake rapture have to be way higher than the true dividing of the bride. You know, it's going to be the real one will be almost nobody compared to the counterfeit.
And I
like it would
and
happen
I
on Sunday.
yeah, and I don't think it would happen on a Sunday, but that's just my humble opinion. So
So the other thing I don't, so my husband and I, we haven't watched in a while, but we used to we still watch documentaries, but we used to watch a lot of cult documentaries. And There was this last one that I can think of. I saw a couple where they talk about, they're basically straight up telling us that they're talking to demons and there's a spaceship that they're waiting for to come and get them. I am like, so this just makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to share this with you guys. I guess what we're trying to say is when things really crank up, it's gonna get wild really fast, and to expect curveballs, but hang on to the truth.
Yeah.
You know, this comet will be one thing that because what do people do when they panic and they think it's the end? So they don't have to go through any kind of whatever traumatic whatever
Kill
they'll end up killing
themselves.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Fall on
another.
their sword. We just read
Yeah.
about it in First Samuel. That's
Yep.
all. Or Second Samuel. He didn't want to be killed by one of the Philistines. So can you imagine when you see demons that people will take that route? Yeah, you're right, Kimberly.
Yeah, people do that when we'll look at what happened in the stock market crashes. They just lose their money and they start jumping out windows. How much more when they start seeing things they've never seen before and don't even know how to process or comprehend what they're seeing.
Remember the War of the Worlds that was broadcasted over radio? People thought it was real and they started killing themselves because they didn't they didn't know how to deal with it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big thing back in the 1930s, I believe, which is
Yep.
when they
I
broadcasted
remember
it.
that. Yeah.
I remember that too. What's that scripture that the men's heart will stop in their chests or some,
Yeah,
yeah.
just die
Isn't
in
Yeah,
that
their
they're
Isaiah?
tracks.
Yeah.
That was Orson Welles, I think.
there you go. I
Yeah.
couldn't
That's
remember
Orson.
his name. Orson Welles. Yep.
It's Luke 21:26 for men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. The,
Yeah.
and we're just talking about how the levels of heaven and the powers or the stars within the lower levels of heaven are shaken down to the ground. Like I don't know, I'm just kind of like that kind of makes sense too.
Oh, and they will be. They will be.
This is where we hide in our houses, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's house.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I want
I'm
to be
hiding in
hidden.
Probably,
this. I'm hiding
probably
in
not where
yours.
we're hiding out now.
Right. Well, it says to go in your rooms for a little while. Would this be the time?
Yeah, in Revelation 12, where her water and bread is sure, wherever that is. Yeah. And I think he's so the the bride is protected for 1,260 days. That's what it says in Revelation. But I also think he protects physical Israel, right, as he's pulling them out and then they're journeying to Israel again. So they're going to be protected somewhere as well. So he's talking to both. But they're not going to be protected where the bride's protected, is what I'm saying, if that makes sense.